Dandavats devotees on the live stream as well. We'll get started in about 1 minute here.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hello, I'm Mukunda Prabhu.
Dandavats. So we're also on the live stream. We're also on the live stream, the Facebook Live. So probably, in about 30 seconds, we'll probably need to mute out so that it doesn't bleed over.
I will mute now.
Okay.
Did
you get a Chudananda on?
No, he's going to call you, Bhumi.
Yeah, I was in the shower, so I'll call him now.
All righty.
Okay. All right. Howdy.
Hey Shri Guru Dinabandhu Ganada Swananda Datta Karinaya Kushindu Vrindavana Sinavatar Prasida Shri Radha Pranaya Prachara Ajanu Lambito Bujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanaya Kapitro Kamlaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavayo Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavatarro Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemam Devochta Vishundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rashapradaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Kasturiti lakam latapatale vaksalena kostavam nasagre varmoktikam karatare venukarkankanam sava anga harichandanam saralitam kantamuktavali brajastriyo parivestito vijayate gopalachudamani He shisham shundara shikar shekar smirhasramili vinohara radhika rasika mama kipanidi sapriya charanakim karim kuru Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina Ittivigyai radhe tam naimam charanantikam Yat kinkareshu bahusa kalukakavani nityaparasya purushasya shakandamuli Tashakadara sanidhi visabanujas Tatkeli kunja bhavanangana marajani shama Bhajami radha raravinda netram Smarami radha madhura smitasham Vadami radha karuna bharajam Tato mamanashtir nakapi Bhakita vihina yaparada lakshay Shiptascha kamadita ranga maje Kripa maitang sharanam prapana Vrindi namaste charanara Panchakalpaturubhyascha kripa sindhuvaivacha patitana pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Dandavat Pranam to the devotees who are on the phone. We are doing our second in the series for Kartik classes which we started last Monday, and it is going to run through the end of Kartik. I did allow an extra week for just to review and to do questions and answers about the classes that we have run throughout the Kartik. So at the end of all the classes, we'll have a chance to really go back, revisit everything, ask questions, and I myself, if any questions come up, we have the good fortune of having many senior Vaishnavas on, so I can also have recourse to ask those Vaishnavas questions as well. And all the devotees who are coming on, they'll also have chances, if they don't, in the immediate class, find any corrections or comments that they want to make, they can certainly, in the course of time, make those comments or corrections when we come to the end. So before we get started tonight, I did want to mention one thing. I'd be remiss if we didn't. First thing, of course, is today is the Divine Appearance Day of Shri Radha Kund and Bahulastami. So before the class is over tonight, I hope to be able to spend a little bit of time to address some of the wonderful glories, the Mahima of Shri Radha Kund. Shri Radha Kund is the most holy place for Gaudiya Vaishnavas our Prayojana Charya Raghunath Das Goswami. He made his bhajan stali, his bhajan place, his place of doing seva and worship there at Radha Kund. So before we end tonight, certainly we'll discuss a little bit about Shri Radha Kund and the glories of Shri Radha Kund. And we'll pray for the causeless mercy of our Guru Varga and Mahaprabhu, that we can, at some distance from Radha Kund, being at Govardhan perhaps, that we can always remain in any aprakat bhav, in any aprakat deha, waiting to be called to do seva there, under the guidance of Sri Guru Rupa Sakhi and the Rup Manjari, under the gun of Lalita. So this is our deep aspiration. Right now, our immediate aspiration is to try to get to Nishta in Bhakti. So let's go back and we'll review a little bit of what we spoke last week. Then we'll come to our subject matter for tonight. Tonight, the subject matter is how the bondage of the jiva is broken. Last week we spoke about the bondage of the jiva. We went over the nature of the atma, jivatma. We explained how the jivatma became bound. We explained that bondage, to be from time without any beginning. This is a running difficulties the devotees have in trying to understand the narrative of our immediate Guru Varga, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and being able to reconcile that with the teachings of Jiva Goswami Pad and Mukunda Sandarba, where it's clearly mentioned, and even in Srimad Bhagavatam clearly mentioned, that the jiva's bondage is without beginning. So that's even a little hard to digest at times, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the 16th chapter, he completely reconciled it, and we'll have to do deep study of these things in order to ourselves come in line with the reconciliation given by the Acharyas. But let me go back, we go back and get a little bit of a review from last week. Just bear with me 1 minute while I bring it up in my notes here. Let's see. Alrighty. Oh, okay. Here we go. All right. So even before we get started with that, again, I think I see enough people on the phone and online that I can also do something I was remiss in doing last week. I didn't do last week, and I really want to do. And forgive me, I'm not super expert at this Facebook Live. I've never done these things. So I see devotees who are coming on to the Facebook Live. I see that you're coming on, and I offer my Dandavat Pranam to all of you. But last week I did not mention that for more than 17 years now, by the seva of Shriman Bhumipati Prabhu and other devotees, and particularly Bhumipati Prabhu, Sahadev Prabhu, and others, we have maintained having a telephone conference call every single night, at least 5 nights a week, from Monday to Friday, for more than 17 years. From that phone conference, the preaching has also developed from there, so we've traveled to many places and actually in person have had the opportunity to associate with many devotees and to review our Guru Varga's Harikatha with many devotees, all because of this wonderful phone conference. So for more than 17 years it's been going on Monday nights, which is why I synced the live stream with the same time that we do the phone conference, because I thought that was a excellent way of just merging both things. But every Monday it starts at 7 p.m. And on 7 p.m. On Monday nights, by the grace of Sri Guru Gauranga and by the blessings that Bhumipati Prabhu has given me, he allows me to facilitate Monday nights primarily as a question and answer class to everything we've discussed throughout the rest of the week. Right now we're in the book, the Grantha Madhurya Kadambini of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad. We are really getting into that. And of course it's Damodar Mas, Kartik Mas. So we've also been doing some reading of Srila Gurudev's Damodarastakam with the commentary of Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad. So those are the topics that are going on the phone conference. And usually Tuesday through Friday at 7:45 starting, we are attentive to study those things. But on Monday nights we start at 7. We start a little earlier, and that's the day that I'm allowed to facilitate a question and answer class, and it's more ishtagoshti. So it's not that I'm the singular person answering questions, but we have the benefit of having many senior devotees come on the conference, and in that way, through ishtagoshti, we're all able to grow and to nourish and deepen what we've heard throughout the week. So that telephone number, before I keep talking and forget to mention it, it is 605, that's the area code, 605, and the number is 472-5672. Again, it's 472-5672, area code 605. Now, once you dial in, you'll need to dial a code. That code is 576151, 576151, right? Now, once you come on the conference, we ask everyone to press *6, because *6 is how you mute and unmute your phone. While the reading is going on or anyone is discussing, we ask other devotees or participants to mute, and then when you want to ask a question or you want to make a contribution, again, you can push *6. That will unmute your phone and give you facility to speak and make your contribution. So again, the number is area code 605.
576151 pound.
Oh, yes.
Pound.
Yes. Bhumipati's on. He's telling me now. I'll get to that. Let me give you the number again. It's area code 605-472-5672, in case you didn't get it the first time. The code is 576151, and it prompts you to push the pound sign. So 576151, press the pound sign, and that will introduce you into the conference. Okay. So now, getting to our subject matter, and before we do that, we'd like to review a little bit of what we went over last week for devotees who may not have been on the conference or who may need to hear again some of the considerations that we discussed last week. So, Jiva Goswami Pad has in the Paramatma Sandarba. I'm not going to re-explain what the Sandarbas are. We did go over that, and the tape is available online. In fact, last week was recorded. It's still up on my page. I don't know where else it is, but you can go there and you can actually listen back to last week's class in full and get everything. But just as a review, in general, we spoke about how Jiva Goswami Pad, he gave an ontological description of the nature of the Jivatma. So I explained last week that there's only 2 states of existence of the Jivatma. One is being liberated, which would also be from time without any beginning. It's an eternal reality. The other is for conditioned jivas who have also been conditioned from time without beginning, but their conditioned life will come to an end at some point. So I mentioned last week that Jiva Goswami, in his Tattva Sandarba, he described or defined the word anadi, which is used to describe the conditioned jiva being conditioned from time without beginning. He described that word as being something that has no beginning but does have an end. So we should not think that the 2 states mean some are eternally liberated and some will eternally be conditioned, because that's not possible, because the jiva by its very constitution is the das or servant of Krishna. So at some point in their existence, which is what we're going to discuss tonight a little bit, in their existence, their relationship with the material world will be broken. And when that material relationship is broken, then they become unmuk, or they turn towards the mood of service to God. And at that time, right, the spiritual energy necessary to execute that service is given. And from that time onward, now we're not talking about the bhakti journey, which has peaks and valleys. We're going to get to that in our next class, where we're actually discussing more of the Madhurya Kanamini and how the process of bhakti unfolds. But once it is broken, the progress towards going back to service to God is progressive, and it doesn't have any slacking, or it does not lose. You don't lose anything. I mentioned last week in Bhagavad Gita, it's clearly mentioned, Nihabra kamana sosti pratyavayo na vidyate, swa alpamapyasha dharmasha trayate mahato bhyat. That one should never fear that whatever they do in bhakti will be lost, because it is spiritual in nature. So once you do something, it's an eternal credit. The only thing which can check both the progress of bhakti and actually take away some of your progress is aparad, especially Vaishnava aparad. To commit offenses to Vaishnavas has the power, because Vaishnavas, which we're going to discuss tonight, are the very source of bhakti. So to offend them or somehow fail to understand the importance of Vaishnava association, it can check your bhakti. Okay? So, Jiva Goswami also described not only ontological makeup of the Jivatma, but he described how it is that we find ourselves in the condition that we find ourselves in. So he mentioned Paramatma Vaibhava Gonane. Previously in the Paramatma Sandarba, I spoke about the nature of Paramatma. In doing so, Tatashta Jiva Shakti Rupanam. I also spoke about the Tatashta Jivas. So please refer back to the other tape to understand, if you don't understand, all of the terminology like what is Tatashta, etc. All of that is explained in that first class. So Jiva Goswami says, I also discussed by natural relation, because the Tatashta Jivas, they are the expansion from the Paramatma. They are called Vibhinangsha. The word Vibhinamsa means Vishesh Bina Angsha. They are special, separated parts and parcels coming from the Paramatma. The category of being separate parts and parcels in a relationship of servitude to God is eternal. Mamam Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So this is described by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita. So these Vibhinamsa Jivas, they are called Tatashta. Right? Again, the definition is in the first class. Those Tatashta Jivas are Tatashta, not that they became Tatashta at a particular point, but he clearly mentions Anadi, Paramatattva, Jnanam, Samsaraga Bhava Maya. So this means that their condition of being Tatashta and being without Paratattva Jnana, and Paratattva Jnana here means knowledge of who am I, who is God, and what is our relationship. This is the essential meaning of Paratattva Jnana. That Paratattva Jnana can only manifest itself in what is called Swarup Shakti. Swarup Shakti means Bhagavan's internal energy. When the Jiva becomes the recipient of that, then a natural illumination of his own identity, the clear identity of Bhagavan, and the relationship is made known. Prior to the descent of that Swarup Shakti, the Jiva is Anadi, without any beginning, void. The word abhav, samsaraga bhav, means they are void of that knowledge from time without any beginning. Because of that, they have chit ekarasanam. The word chit ekarasanam means they are neutral in their disposition towards God. Just like if I ask anybody, do you love John Smith? Now, maybe some of you know a John Smith, but you don't know what John Smith I'm referring to, so naturally, you can't say yay or nay as to how you feel about John Smith, because you don't know John Smith. You don't know of any relationship you have with John Smith. So in the same way, not having tattva gyan, paratattva gyan of Bhagavan, we cannot have a particular feeling towards Bhagavan. For this reason, the Jiva remains in a neutral position in relation to Bhagavan, much in the same way, by example, we are neutral to most other humans. We don't know everybody. So we don't hate anybody, we don't love anybody. We're neutral in our disposition because we're not familiar or not known to them. We are not known to them, they're not known to us. So a neutral disposition is there. From that neutral disposition, Jiva Goswami mentioned, as a result of that, Tat Vaimukya Labdya Tridraya. The Jiva has a natural aversion. Vaimukya means they have a natural tendency to look away from Bhagavan. Now here, looking away doesn't mean literally looking away. It doesn't mean Bhagavan is standing on the left and I choose to look right. Right? So this is an ontological description. It's the study of the nature of how things work. It's not a historical narrative. I repeated that several times in the first class because that is a big sticking point in understanding this Siddhant. Right? So Vaimukya means the tendency to have self-interest instead of having interest in the service of Bhagavan. Right? As soon as that Vaimukya is manifest, and it did not manifest in a historical time period, it is anadi, without beginning. Then, sattva, tamo, rajas, tame, jodane. Then the sattva, rajas, and tamas, which means the three modes of material nature, they immediately cover. What do they cover? Maya, avrita, swarupa, jnananam. They cover the knowledge of the jiva's own nature. In other words, you can't understand who you are because the three modes of nature, they effectively exert an influence on the jiva. How do they do it? I described last week that we have something called a chitta. Chitta is the thin sheet of consciousness that expands from the Atma itself, and it's like a TV screen. The modes of nature, they show the narrative spun by the three modes of material nature on that TV screen of the chitta, and the jivas vicariously identify with it by looking at it. This is how Maya and the material energy works. Now, we also explained last week, which is an important point, and it comes to our class for tonight, that the feature that Maya uses is called avidya. Vidya means knowledge. Avidya means without knowledge. But that avidya has direct functions. They are 5 in number. One is the ignorance of the nature of our existence itself. Right? What is the Atma? What is the Swarup of the Atma? The spiritual nature of the Atma. Ignorance of that is called avidya. The result of that avidya is a false identity is acquired in order to interact with the three modes of material nature. This false identity is called asmita. Asmita gives rise to ahamkara. Ahamkara means I think I'm something related to the material world. In fact, I am the karta and karana, the doer and the cause of actions in the material world, right? And then upadi. Upadi means a particular designation within all of that where we identify according to the body we got. I am Mukunda, the husband of Mohini. This is my daughter, this is my house, this is my family, and it extends like that. So from asmita, which is a feature of avidya, ignorance, the ahamkara and a upadi, a particular designation arise, and this is how we play out our drama in the material world. Playing out that drama in the material world, two things become prominent: rag and dvesh. Attachment to happiness, because happiness is an essential part of our nature, and aversion to things which create unhappiness or dukkha. Lastly is abhinivesh. Abhinivesh, and again refer to the first class for complete explanations of all these things. Abhinivesh is a power of avidya that is so absorbing in its influence on the Atma that the jiva himself cannot extricate himself. You cannot on your own break the bond with Maya. This brings us right to our point for tonight. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly pointed out, Anadi avidya yuktasya purushasya veda atmanam swato na sambhavanti. Swato na means by yourself. Swa means you. Swato na sambhavanti. You can't affect any change. Anya, it requires another person to effect that change of breaking your bondage with material nature. Who is that? Jnanatva jnanadha bhavet. Someone who is called Jnanatva. Jnanatva means who themselves have realized transcendental knowledge of the spiritual nature. That's why Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi pranipattena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshi. Tattvadarshi. Tattvadarshi means who has realized the absolute truth themselves, they are called Tattvadashi, synonym Gyanatva. They know what is the transcendental reality. And they must be disposed, and this is a very important point here, they must be disposed towards giving you that realization. So Gyanatva, Gyanadha Bhavet. The word da here means like to give. Right? Da means to give. Right? So they must have the knowledge and be disposed towards giving it to you. Bhavet means the imperative in Sanskrit that this is the only way by which the bondage of the jiva can be broken. Now, the question may come, but it's so popular now, especially in sort of, I don't like to use the word because it seems to be stereotyping. I don't want to say like that, but in general, please forgive me, but in the sort of New Age community, it is a popular dynamic that we utilize our own power to effect change in our lives. So a person will say, well, I'm going to work on myself. Or a person will say, I'm going to guide my life. Or I'm going to realize my real self. I'm going to center myself. I. Right? So this illusion, it comes from the influence of Sattva Gun. In Bhagavad Gita, it says Sattva Gun, which is the mode of goodness in the material world, which has great qualities. But two faults of the mode of goodness is that it conditions one to a sense of happiness in the material world and a false sense of knowledge. What is the false sense of knowledge? That I, even though it's clearly mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti Kriyamonani Gunai Kamani Savasha Ahankara Vimudatma, a bewilderment of the Ahankara, the very first feature of avidya, which is Asmita, Ahankara, etc. The very first feature of it is that it makes me think I am the doer of the activities that are actually being carried out by the modes of nature. In this case, it is the influence of the mode of Sattva Gun that makes us think, I will work on myself. I will extricate myself from this or that or this or that. But the actual power to make transcendental change in a jiva's life comes from the influence of Swarup Shakti, which is in the heart of those who are realized souls. Gyanatva, who've realized bhakti, and Gyanada, who are disposed towards giving bhakti to you. Now, another question comes, but wait. Why is it not possible for me, since I'm also a jiva related to Bhagavan, for me to appeal directly to Bhagavan to give me the power to extricate myself from Maya? Why is that not possible? So our acharyas have explained. In Madhurya Kanambini of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad, he mentions that though Bhagavan is omnipotent, omniscient, he has all power, all opulence, everything, he himself does not give bhakti. Now that's going to be shocking. Oh, wait a minute. Krishna doesn't give bhakti? Clearly, if you read the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the conversation of the Navyoginjas with Maharaj Nimi, you'll understand bhakti sanjatya bhakti. Bhakti comes from bhakti, not from Bhagavan. In this case, what does bhakti mean? Bhakti sanjatya bhakti means the category of bhakti means that person who is the personification or possessor of bhakti for Bhagavan or to Bhagavan. That is Srimati Radhika. Therefore, bhakti actually comes from Radhika. But how likely is it that you can call up on your cell phone or dial up on Facebook Radhika and get a response? Not likely. So how will you get this bhakti, which is the Shakti of Radhika, to serve? How will you get that bhakti? Krishna prema janma hoy mula sadhu sangha. Krishna prema janma mula hoy sadhu sangha. The only way for you to get janma mula hoy sadhu sangha. The only way to get this bhakti is it's only born from sadhu sangha. It cannot be attained by your own efforts. Even Bhagavan himself, Krishna, doesn't give it. It's obtained by sadhu sangha. Now the question becomes, well, why? And moreover, Mukunda, what is evidence? Well, beside the verse that I just quoted, there are several verses in Bhagavatam which explain why bhakti must come through the heart of a devotee to the Jivatma in this world. First, it's explained, even though the Paramatma has been with the Jiva since the beginning of his sojourn in the material world, and that's without beginning. Again, I don't want to get confusing here. So the Paramatma is always with the Jiva. In fact, Jiva Goswami says that the Jiva is Paramatmaika Seshitva. It means he is the direct expansion, the last expansion, which is called, Vibhinam says, I explained already, of the Paramatma. So the Paramatma, or Chaitya Guru, is always with us. Why can't we simply turn inward and appeal to the Chaitya Guru, Paramatma, to deliver us from the material energy? Chaitanya Charitamrita clearly mentioned, Jive Sakshat Nahi Chaitya Guru Rupe. Shiksha Guru Hoy Krishna Mahant Swarupe. That actually the Jiva has no ability to contact even the Super Soul, who's as near to the Jiva as his own life. Because the Paramatma is situated in a transcendental position. And until and unless the Jiva is imbued with Swarup Shakti, he has no ability to relate to the transcendental level. Therefore, Krishna, out of his kindness, he appears as the Mahant. Mahant means sadhu. So sadhu sangha is the essential means by which the Jiva's bondage in this world is broken. There's no other method. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave clear indication of this in Ohe Vaishnava Thakura. Ekaki amara nahi pai bhal Harinama Sankirtane. I even have Harinam. I'm chanting Harinam. But by myself, ekaki, by myself, I don't feel the strength, the power to obtain Krishna. I have Harinam. I'm chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But by myself, I don't feel the strength. Therefore, Krishna say to Mara, Krishna Ditti Paro, Tomara Shakaptiache. Hey, Vaishnav Thakur. Right? Vaishnav Thakur. Not only do you have Krishna, means you have Krishna residing in your heart and you've realized it, but Krishna Ditti Paro. Paro means others. You have the power to give. Ditti means to give. You have the power to give Krishna to others. So only sadhu sangha is the means to break the bondage of the jiva. Now I also explained in my Dvija Kandamini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur part quotes Jiva Goswami. Sarva sangamena ratnya ankor rupa eva mati. So ratnya ankor means the ankor means like a sprout. The sprout of rati, right, takes a form. Sarva sangamena, in the association of sadhus. Sarva sangamena. Sangamena here indicates sadhus. In the association of sadhus, the ankor or the sprout of rati or love of God takes a form. What form does it take? Rupa eva. Certainly it takes the form of mati. What is mati? Mati is that first time that by some agyata sukriti, some previously acquired sukriti or pious activity, you begin to question the narrative that is being played on your chitta by the modes of material nature. And you say, wait a minute, this can't be all there is. There must be something else. And as soon as you say that, this is like I mentioned last week, the question of Sanatana Goswami Pad. Ke ami, kene amai, jare tapatrai. Who am I and why am I suffering? Soon as that question comes, this is called mati. It is called discrimination or inclination. In Sanskrit, different definitions are given. But it is what the seedling, so to speak, right, of faith, we'll find out later, this is actually faith, that seedling comes in and a doubt arises as to, what is this material world? This can't be the all in all. There must be something else. And as soon as one is in that position, they're very delicate. Because unless one is in good sadhu sangha, when the question arises about the nature of the material world, and when the question arises is about what is my real identity, so many previous impressions and so many material impressions try to flood into that vacuum, because now you've created a tear. In other words, you were absorbed in the material world. Now your consciousness is somewhat torn away to even question the reality of the material world versus an alternative reality. So now in that void or in that space, so many material things start to rush in. Not only material things, quasi-spiritual things start to rush in. Not only quasi-spiritual things, but actual spiritual things of a lesser degree of potency than bhakti start to rush in. So that's a very delicate area and very delicate state of existence for the jiva. Let me explain more. As soon as you make the affiliation or mati, this breaking of the material energy, immediately when that vacuum opens, it's like in any natural hole, things flood into it. So if you're not in the association of true sadhus, then wherever you are associating, that energy will flow into that void. So let me give you an example. You can probably raise your hand. I can't see it, but you can raise your hand if when that question arose in your life, you became attracted to this yoga group, you became attracted to that new age modality, you became attracted to this thing or that thing, or some became very attracted to impersonalism in the form of so many different yogis and mystics who are also present here. Right? Many of us did not instantly come to the path of bhakti. That's because as soon as that void took place, there were many things which competed for the attraction of the consciousness of the jiva. Therefore, it mentions in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhava apavago bharato yada bhavaj janasya tarhi achyuta sat sangamaha sat sangamo yarhi tar eva sat gato paravarasi tvai jayate mati. When the sojourn of the jiva starts to come to an end in this world, at that time, he may obtain the association of your devotees. So here, this is a description that's being given by one another. It says, that person may obtain the association of one of your devotees, if they are very fortunate. Brahmanya Brahmati Konya Bhagavan Jeev. If a jiva is very, Bhagavan means very fortunate, they may obtain the association of a devotee. Guru Krishna Prasade Poi Bhakti Lata Beach. Then they will get the seed of bhakti rather than so many other things, right? It says here that if they're very fortunate, they will get the association of devotees. And when they get that association, what awakens in that void is bhakti. Not some other thing. Bhakti awakens in that void. So the seed of bhakti is what comes there. Therefore, having the association of sadhus is very important. Now, we have to define what is a sadhu. What is a sadhu? So Jiva Goswami has also written clearly. Sadhu means sadnoti sadayati cha Krishna prema itti sadhu. This is the definition of the word sadhu. A sadhu means that person who has understood the sadvastu. Sadvastu means the eternal reality. But what did they understand the eternal reality to be? Krishna prema itti sadhu. He's called a sadhu because he understood that the ultimate spiritual reality is Krishna prema. Not Brahman. Not Paramatma realization. Not simply Gyan, which frees one from the influence of material energy. Those are all natural byproducts of bhakti, but when they're considered the goal in and of themselves, Jiva Goswami doesn't really consider those persons to be sadhu in the highest category. Brahmavadis are also sadhus, don't mistake this. But they're not sadhu of the highest category. Sadhu of the highest category considers the ultimate spiritual reality to be Krishna prema. And what this sangha, sadhu sangha, sangha means samyak rupen anugamana. Samyak rupe means, samyak means completely. Means by body, mind, word, moods. With everything, we should do sharanagati to the lotus feet of a sadhu. And anu means continually following. And to continually follow both the instructions, the behavior, achar of that sadhu. This is called doing sadhu sangha. By doing sadhu sangha, our path of going in the right direction is assured. Also, it is mentioned it is the only way, there is no second way, that the bondage of the jiva with material energy can be broken. You cannot do it on your own. You cannot do it by others. Even Prahalad Maharaj told to Hiranyakasipu, Matena Krishna Parataksvatova. Not by others' help, not by your own endeavors. Not until you get the dust of the lotus feet of an Akinchan, Niskinchan, Vaishnav, devotee, can you be free from your illusion. And Hiranyakasipu was so powerful. By his austerities, he conquered even the heavenly planets. But you cannot get free from the bondage of the material world by your own endeavor. So, in the Madhurya Kandamini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains why sadhu gives bhakti, or the shakti coming from Radhika, and not Bhagavan himself. He quotes one verse to make this point. Yadrichaya matkathado jatasarastu yapuman na nirino nati shakto bhakti yoga siddhada. That person who by good fortune, yadrichaya means somehow or another. So it's translated as good fortune, somehow or other good fortune. But Srila Sridhar Swami, meaning here Sridhar Swami's Bhavarta Deepika, the original commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, that's Sridhar Swami. He commented on the word Yadrichaya, and he says Yadrichaya kenapi atti bhagyena. Here Yadrichaya means atti bhagyena. Atti means excessive. Bhagya means fortunate. That person who is exceptionally or excessively fortunate, he is Yadrichaya. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, not challenging the speaking of Sridhar Swami, but wanting to add clarity. Because what does Ati Bhagyena mean? Oh, by pious activities he became so fortunate. Maybe it was by self-study he became very fortunate. Maybe some rituals were done, he became very fortunate. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, no, not by any of these things. But Yadrichaya refers to Bhagavad Bhakta Paramaswatantra. Bhagavad Bhakta Paramaswatantra means the independent free will of a devotee. Why is it called Paramaswatantra? Because the independence, the power inherent in a devotee to give bhakti, that has come by the authorization of Bhagavan himself. So now the question will come, wait, Mukunda, you're saying Bhagavan can't give devotion directly. The devotee gives devotion directly, but Bhagavan's giving him the power to do it. So what's the difference? The difference is that because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining this in Madhurya Kandamini, if Bhagavan was the original giver of bhakti, right? We've already mentioned bhakti also comes from bhakti, which means bhakti shakti. But also, even if Bhagavan was the administrator or person who dispersed that bhakti, a fault would come in Bhagavan called asamya dosh. Asamya dosh means the fault of partiality. Not impartiality, partiality. Why? Because the natural feeling would come, why I did not get, but someone else got. And if you say bhakti comes as a result of who's qualified to get it, who's not qualified to get it, etc., then how would you explain examples of Kripa Siddha? You understand? How would you explain that? So, Bhagavan, in order, first, this is the first thing Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings up. First, that Bhagavan will not be seen to be holding the fault of asamya dosh, partiality. He himself does not directly give bhakti. Also, he brings up that because the nature of Bhagavan and Bhagavan's Leela and Bhagavan's activities are all Suddha Paramananda. Suddha Paramananda means completely pure, highest class Ananda. Bhagavan does not know what is material misery. Even Jiva Goswami says, even in the Jivatma, he's dukkha pratyogita. It means in the Atma itself there is no misery. What to speak of in Bhagavan? So Bhagavan has no concept what is material misery. Now in our Judeo-Christian background, we want to, oh, God is omnipotent, omniscient, and Bhagavan knows my suffering, because you go to church every Sunday and everybody at the same time, millions of people all over the world praying to Bhagavan, work out my suffering, my home life, my job life, my financial picture, my relationship, right? Work it out, right? So we have the idea that Bhagavan is there simply to empathize with our material suffering and deal with it. But that's not the real case. Bhagavan is always absorbed in the Prem Mai Leela of his devotees, whether it be in Vaikuntha, in Golok Vrindavan, in Ayodhya Dham, wherever. According to the particular incarnation, Bhagavan is absorbed in Paramananda Mai Leela. He does not identify with what the suffering is in this material world. Therefore, even in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says, Paritranaya sadunam vinashaya traduskritam, I come here to give pleasure to my devotees. A byproduct of that is that the demons are destroyed. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam. I come to this material world to show Anugraha means mercy to my bhaktas. The result of that is that if anybody will hear from those bhaktas and associate with those bhaktas, they will also be benefited. Right? So, Bhagavan himself does not give bhakti. Asamya dosh is one fault, to be free from that fault. Secondly, he does not know what is the material misery in the material world, because his nature is Swarup Paramananda. It's written in Madhurya Kandamini. All of his activities are Paramananda, full of bliss. There is no misery. There's no empathy with what is material misery. So now, Bhagavan empowers Swatantrata, independent ability in his bhaktas to carry the Shakti of Srimati Radhika and distribute that mercy. But even the pure devotee, they do not do that from the position of Uttam Bhagavat. You understand? In other words, a devotee who's operating in the position of Uttam Bhagavat, the highest class of devotee, right? We'll read what that is in a minute here. They see everybody serving Krishna. They don't make any distinction who's serving, who's not serving, etc. So to perform the function of Acharya, to perform the function of Guru, even the Uttam Bhagavat comes down to the level of Madhyam Adhikar. Why? Because Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. Because it is in the nature of Madhyam Adhikar that the devotee sees four different categories. Prem, he sees Bhagavan and displays love for Bhagavan. Maitri, he displays friendship towards other devotees. Kripa, to the innocent, Baleshu, right, he displays compassion or mercy. And Upeksha, to those who are either envious or offensive, he does neglect, right, in order not to allow them to become more involved in offense. He may neglect them, right? So because these four things are natural to Madhyamadikar, there's no fault in the dealings of a Madhyamadikari. Let me repeat it again. Both Bhagavan and the Uttam Bhakta are operating at the highest level. Therefore, if they will display giving bhakti to one person and not giving to another person, because remember, bhakti is not by our own endeavor. Bhakti comes from the mercy of Swarup Shakti descending through a pure devotee. It's not from our own endeavor. So if they will give one devotee and not give another devotee, then the fault of asamya dosh will come in them. Also, in the highest category of spiritual function, whether as Uttam Bhagavat or Bhagavan himself, everything is saturated with Paramananda and there's no consciousness of misery. Therefore, the Uttam Bhagavat, who is in Antradasha, internal consciousness, absorbed in Paramananda, he can't see who's suffering, who's not suffering. He thinks everyone is engaged in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, even those Uttam Bhagavats, when they want to serve and perform the function of Guru Acharya, they come to the level of Madhyamadikar. This way, they can distinguish who's not Krishna conscious, who is trying to be Krishna conscious, who's making advancement in Krishna consciousness, who is envious of Krishna. And according to that, they can deal accordingly. Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha, Sakaroti, Samadhyama. So this is how bhakti is delivered to the jivas in this world and how their material bondage is broken. Now, what is it that those bhaktas have? Now, let me explain one thing before I go there. I've often explained one verse because I think it gives a really good understanding of how bhakti comes to this world. In one verse, which is in Chaitanya Charitamritam, Panchatattvakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So in this verse, Krishna's Kaviraj has explained these are 5 features of the absolute truth. That absolute truth means the perfected spiritual reality. That is the absolute truth. How does that absolute truth descend to this world? Now, Mahaprabhu is the epitome. He is the zenith. He is called Bhakti Naipunya. Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Padayate. He is the most magnificent incarnation of all Bhagavan's incarnations. So you would think, being in the Leela of Mahaprabhu, that Bhagavan in that Leela, having come in the position of a devotee, would easily give bhakti to everyone. But if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, clearly it mentions why Mahaprabhu came. Prema Rasaniyas Karite Ashwadan Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Karite Prachan. Mahaprabhu came for 2 reasons. One, to taste himself what is the highest type of prema. Right? Highest type of prema is Srimati Radhika's love for Krishna. He wanted to taste that. Therefore, he begged and received the mood of Srimati Radhika. He came to taste that prema Rasa Niyas, the highest quality of Radhika's prema. Secondly, Rag Marg Bhakti Lok. What is Bhakta Lok? Bhakta Lok means all the devotees from the previous incarnations who have praying for Bhagavan in those particular avatars, he wanted them to taste the intensity of this high class of Braj praying. So he brought them into Gaur Leela, and for them he preached what is Rag Marg. Rag Marg means the path of deep spontaneous love. For them he preached that. For them he preached that. But not in general. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prem naeva gopa ramanam kamam iti agamat pratam udava adayo apietan vajanti bhagavat priya. It says here that the Lord came and bringing all of the dear devotees, headed by Uddhava. Uddhava Adhaya, headed by Uddhava, because outside of Braj, Uddhava is considered the highest class of devotee. So headed by Uddhava, Vajanti Bhagavat Priya, all the Bhagavat Priya, dear devotees from other incarnations, like Hanuman, right? Like all from previous incarnations, Mahaprabhu brought them into Gaur Leela. So if you read Gaur Ganadash Dipika, you will see all the devotees from previous incarnations, they've come into Gaur Leela. And they tasted the intensity of Braj Prem. They did not change their Swarup and become Brijavasis, but they tasted the intensity of Braj Prem in the form of a special kind of Dasyaras towards Mahaprabhu. So my point being here that even in the most merciful of all the incarnations, Mahaprabhu, he does not directly distribute praying to the jivas. How does he do it? How? Bhaktarup. Mahaprabhu is called a Bhaktarup, right? From the Bhaktarup, there's an expansion called Bhakta Swarup. Who is the Bhakta Swarup? He is Nityananda Prabhu. So Mahaprabhu was so merciful. But Nityananda Prabhu is even more merciful. How do we know this? It is evidenced in the Leela of Jagai and Madai. That even where Mahaprabhu would have been hesitant to give love or mercy even, he summoned his Sudarshan Chakra. Right? It is a kind of mercy, but not the kind that I'm sure Jagai and Madai wanted. But Nityananda Prabhu, he showed a mercy that was so extreme that no other incarnation you read shed blood for the sinners. Right? The whole Christian narrative is very deep on this point. But it's not, it's preceded in one sense, because Nityananda's Leela is eternal also. Nityananda Prabhu actually shed blood to deliver Jagai and Madai. So Nityananda is even more merciful. But even Nityananda Prabhu does not directly descend to the ordinary jiva. Who is Jagai and Madai? Jagai and Madai are Jai and Vijay. They were in a previous Leela of Bhagavan. And ultimately that Jai and Vijay, they are Nitya Parikars of Bhagavan. In fact, in Vaikuntha, they're the favorite of all the different Dwarapalaks, or doorkeepers. So they're not ordinary. But to show the Leela of Nityananda's mercy, that Jai and Vijay became Jagai and Madai, and he used them to show his extreme mercy. But even that Nityananda does not directly descend here. So, the Bhakta Roop and the Bhakta Swarup, they descend here through the avatar. The avatar is Advaita Acharya. It's by the mercy of Advaita Acharya that he calls for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come here. And it's because Mahaprabhu comes that Nityananda and all associates come. So Advaita Acharya is called Bhakta Avatar. Now even when the Bhakta Roop and the Bhakta Swarup, which means the realization of how to serve Radha Krishna, because Mahaprabhu is the combined form of Radha Krishna. Nityananda is called Bhakta Swarup. He is the understanding of how to serve Bhakta Roop. That understanding descends to this world through the avatar, Advaita Acharya. But even when it descends here, unless and until the mercy of Radhika is present in the form of Bhakti Shakti, no one can get it. Therefore, the Bhakta Shakti appears in this world as Gadadhar Pandit. But even when all the elements are here present to give the jivas bhakti, until the pure devotee takes that and gives it to the devotees, it still remains unavailable. This is the meaning of Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Pancha Tattvakam Krishnam, Bhakta Rupa, Bhakta Sarupakam, Bhakta Avataram. Right? So, we've dealt with those three, and Bhakta Shakti, Gadadhar Pandit, who's the embodiment of Srimati Radhika herself. Now, Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavinda. So how will the jivas get bhakti? Srivas. In the Chaitanya Charita of Murari Gupta, the meaning of Srivas is given. Sri Bhakti Rasa Hridayatvam Attaha Srivas Uchate. You are called Srivas because Sri Bhakti Rasa is residing in your heart. So that Srivas represents the pure devotee. Adi means the leader or head or beginning of all pure devotees. Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So from a pure devotee, the Bhakta Roop, which means the very form of Radha Krishna, the Swarup, how to serve that Bhakta Roop, the avatar of it, the Shakti provided by Radhika, it all resides in the heart of the pure devotee. From the pure devotee, the jivas receive the Bhakti Lata Bij, or Mati, or the seed, right, of Bhakti. And in this way, their connection with the material world is broken. This is the only way that the jiva's connection with the material world can be broken. There is no other way. There isn't a second alternative. So before I go on, either on the telephone, or if you type it and I can see it here, I'm trying to pull up comments. If anyone will type and I can see it, then I will try to answer any question as to where we've come so far. So where we've come, the jivas have bondage from time without any beginning, right? The only way that that bondage is broken is by a devotee. Even Bhagavan himself cannot break that bondage. There's so many verses which were quoted to prove this point, right? So if there's any question at all, then someone can ask and we'll try to answer before we move on. Anything? All right, let's move on to the second section here. What is it actually that is the power that is inherent in bhakti, right? That only the pure devotee can give. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he speaks about this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahat kripa vina kona karme bhakti noy, Krishna bhakti dure rahu samsara nahikshay. He says that unless a person is favored by a pure devotee, he'll never obtain pure devotional service. What to speak of obtaining bhakti, he can't even break the bondage of the material existence. So here, point proven exclusively. Directly quoted from Chaitanya Charitamrita, I believe this is Madhya Lila, chapter 22. This is the teachings of pure devotional service. So without a pure devotee, you cannot even break material bondage, what to speak of obtaining love of God. What is it that the pure devotee gives? What is the elements of mati or the ratnya ankur? What is it actually? So mati we already described in Sanskrit means discrimination or inclination, right? So first comes some kind of discrimination. What is this? Why am I just in this material world? Then an inclination comes. If we're in the association of sadhus, the inclination comes to serve Bhagavan. That is called Krishna Seva Vasanam. The root of that Krishna Seva Vasanam is Shraddha, or faith. Therefore, in Madhurya Kandambini, and even Rupa Goswami Pad described before that, how the crumb or the progression of bhakti works, Ado Shraddha. So Shraddha is the essential element that comes. So then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has described it. Shwaravan Janahoy Bhakti Adhikari Uttam Manjam Kanishta Shraddha Anusari. So the progression of someone in bhakti is known by going through three stages. Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. But what is revealed in those three stages, which give indication of the adhikar. The word adhikar means the intrinsic eligibility for practicing bhakti. Now that's divided into two divisions. One is general. What is the adhikar in general to be situated in a particular status in bhakti? Either kanishta, madhyam, uttam. The other thing is the eligibility to even practice sadhana bhakti. There are three divisions, kanishta, madhyam, and uttam. So we're going to go over them. But for right now we're discussing that Shraddha is the basis for determining how a person is progressing in bhakti. So this Shraddha, it is the very foundation of Rati. In other words, pure love of Godhead, when it descends to this world through the mechanisms I just described, the appearance that comes in the heart of a practitioner, that first element that comes in is called Shraddha. And when that element first comes in, it is not very strong. It is not supported by very much, right? It is called Komal Shraddha. So when a person first takes to the process of bhakti, then it's described. Yahara Komal Shraddha se kanishta jan, krame krame tinho bhakta hoi be uttam. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning a person who has faith that is soft or pliable. So why would the faith be soft and pliable? Because that person does not have anything which to strengthen the faith with. When we read about Madhyam and Uttam eligibility for the practice, you will see that there are two essential ingredients which begin to support a person's faith. So this is that delicate position I talked about. Not only when you first break the contact with material energy, but even when you first come to bhakti. Because the faith or Shraddha is so soft and pliable, one can be easily influenced, right? And because there's an absence of information or knowledge to support a person's faith, they're in a very precarious, rocky position when you first come to bhakti. So this is called Kol Mal Shraddha. the thing that is the saving grace here is he says, krame krame tin ho bhakta hoibe uttam. But gradually, by especially one feature, that person, even with the softest, most pliable type of shraddha, can gradually make advancement. Now, even if that person does not have very deep understanding of Sastra, that is the greatest thing. If you have deep understanding of Sastra, that is the greatest support. But even deep understanding of Sastra without the next thing I'm going to mention is also very faulty in helping you to advance in bhakti. That verse is there. Nayamatma pravachanena labdya na medasa na bahusrutena. Even if you read all Sastra, bahusrutena, medasa, if you're super intelligent, nayamatma pravachanena, if you can discourse so eloquently, still without the kripa coming from the mercy of a devotee, from Bhagavan to a devotee, still Bhagavan may not reveal himself. Right? So here it says, Sastra Yukti. Sastra Yukti means Sastra and also understanding of the Sastra, not just collection of the information. Right? Doesn't mean I've read it. Right? I didn't read it. I think I got it just like when I was in high school. I studied my books. So when I went to college, I studied. I got the information. I took the finals. I passed them. I got a degree. No, not like that. Here, Sastra Yukti means logic. But the indication is that by being connected to Sastra through realization and understanding, Jiva Goswami explained, Shravan Dwaram Kitchit Anubhuti Bhavati. Right? Real hearing of Sastra means that some realization takes place in the heart. This is the proof that you've actually understood something when you've heard it or read it. Right? So here it says, though, Sastra Yukta Nahi Jani, Dridha Shraddha Yanra. A person still may, Dridha Shraddha means firm faith. Even a Madhyamadikari say Mahabhagyavan, is very fortunate. Here, again, we're talking about Madhyamadikar in eligibility to practice bhakti. Not Madhyamadikar like I spoke before, being situated in bhakti in Madhyamadikar. This is the eligibility to even practice sadhana, like hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. There's levels of adhikar even to practice. So it says, Shastra Yukta Nahi Jani Dridha Shraddhavan. A person who does not have so much understanding of Sastra and the logic and realization of Sastra, he can still have firm faith if he is very attached to a sadhu. If he is very attached to a sadhu. Therefore, his eligibility takes on the middle position to practice. Why? Because his firm faith is not necessarily in all the understanding of Sastra, because he's Sastra Yukti Nahi Jani. He does not fully understand Sastra, but he has firm faith in the sadhu who has realized Sastra. Therefore, his position of practice is Madhyam. It's a middle position, because from there, he's very fortunate, because if he follows that sadhu like we described earlier, he can make advancement very rapidly. He can make advancement very rapidly if he will attach himself to a sadhu. The highest eligibility to practice bhakti is also described. Sastra yuktye sunipunya dridha shraddha yandra uttam adhikari se taraye sansar. So here is actually a description of a person who is Sastra Yukti Sunipunya, means he has understood Sastra. He does have some realization. He does understand the logic in Sastra. And he takes all of that and he's supporting his faith by that and by faith in a sadhu. Because you cannot say you have faith in Sastra, but you have no faith in a sadhu. Because the very first words of Sastra is that one must take shelter of a sadhu. So you cannot say I have Sastra Yukti, but I have no faith in sadhus. That's an oxymoron. If you have Sastra Yukti Sunipuna, if you are really deeply understanding Sastra, it means you have deep faith in a sadhu. Because also, realization of Sastra can only come by the mercy of sadhus. You cannot, because Harikatha, Tattva Siddhant, everything, they are imbued with Swarup Shakti. Swarup Shakti comes from those who have it. So it can only come into your heart through the means of those who have Swarup Shakti. Therefore, it means only through sadhus. Sadhu Guru means same thing here. So Sastra Yukti Sunipunya Jura Shara Yanra Uttamarik say Taraye Sangsar. Taraye means he's not only capable because of his connection with a sadhu and because his faith is very powerful of not extricating himself from material bondage, but he can even extricate others. It's possible that this kind of person who is Shastra Yukti Stunipuna Jidashara Yanra. Now, this is part of one of the verses which gives rise to the idea of a devotee, though not having fully realized perfection in bhajan, may take up the seva of being guru. Because guru is of different calibers also. Our Pujapad Srila Shuddha Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Shuddha Goswami Maharaj, our own Srila Gurudev, and many others have written that that person who is Sastra Yukti Sunipunya, and of course Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning right here, he may not have fully realized perfection in bhajan, but because of Sastra Yukti and fully abiding and following a sadhu, he's capable, if the necessity arises, to help others to be delivered from samsara. Now, we'll have to differentiate that from someone who has aspirations to do it. Because if you have aspirations to be guru, it is called guru abhiman, and it is contaminated with material influence, therefore it is not this category of person being spoken about here. If there's a desire, oh yes, I should be guru. I'm very shastravit. I know so many shastras, so many shloks. I speak well. I have very, glossy eyes, right? I even shake my head when I speak, whatever, right? No, this is not the criteria, right? Criteria is who is self-realized. In lieu of that, who is so anugatya to those who are self-realized that he is also now become the embodiment of Sastra Yukti coming from their heart. And therefore, as an agent under necessity, he may also perform the function of helping others to get out of the material world. And he has no abhiman about this. He has no abhiman about this. It is actually considered only Guru Seva. He has no abhiman, I am Guru. He thinks I'm Guru Seva. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote, Tai Sisha Tava Takiya Savara Guru Abhimana Tyajji. He wrote one bhajan like this. Please, may I always consider myself only to be the Sishya, disciple of my Gurudev. And may Guru Abhiman go very far away. So don't get confused that those who may be Sastra Yukti, Suni Punya, Juda Sarayanya, they have firm faith because they are Sastra Yukti, means they've understood by Sastra and the logic and realization of Sastra, and they're doing Anugatya to a sadhu based on that. They also have firm faith and they can help others to break the connection with the material world. So this was the gist of our class for this evening. That the only way that the material energy can be broken because of the influence of Abhinivesh. Abhinivesh is the strong influence of avidya, which completely encapsulates the Jivatma, right? And so fully encapsulate them that they're unable, swato na sambhavanti, they're unable to extricate themselves from the influence of Maya. So they have to be extricated, anya, gyanatva, ganado bhavet, by someone who is like the persons we're describing and who have the power and willingness to help them come out of Maya. Now, we also described that Madhyamadikar is the operative level of doing this. Because in Madhyamadikar, one is in a position to see both what is love of Bhagavan, right? Jiva Goswami further describes this really starts at the stage of Ruchi. Secondly, praying here, because Prema Maitri Kripa Upeksha is the verse. Iswareta Radineshu Baliseshu Disatchacha. Prema Maitri Kripa Upeksha Sakaroti Samajama. So, praying here means at least from the stage of Ruchi. He has praying for Bhagavan, right? That means he's at least Nishta Ruchi. Maitri. He has Maitri for devotees because he would not be able to have Ruchi or be through the stages of Anushtita Bhakti had he not been able to understand the value of devotees. In fact, in the general status of the three levels of Bhakti, one level of Kanishtari Kar, one fault is there, Natat Bhakte Shu Chanishu. They cannot recognize a sadhu, even though they may do worship in the temple. And they may follow all the rules and regulations of Shastra accordingly. But they can't understand who's a sadhu. This is the fault of Kanishtari Kar. Kanishta means not having Nishta. So, that person who is Prema, Majjamarikar, Prema has least ruchi towards Bhagavan, Maitri has friendship, right? Mood towards devotees according to their level. Because Maitri with a devotee doesn't mean we have the same kind of friendship with every devotee. Those devotees who are in a superior position by realization, we'll offer them seva. Those devotees who are equal, we'll offer an equality of friendship. Those devotees who are aspirants, who may not have developed so much yet, we'll offer them seva through giving instruction and helping and so forth and so on. Right? Devoid of any kind of abhiman. Right? So, Prema Maitri Kripa. Kripa means those who are innocent. That means both the category of devotees as I just described and also those who have not yet come to bhakti. They will show kripa to them, as I explained. That very kripa that's embedded in them through Bhagavan, right? Or in anugatya to a real sadhu who has the kripa coming from Bhagavan, devotees will show mercy to the innocent, right? And help them to come to bhakti. According to your adhikar, you will either completely neglect those who are envious or aparadis towards Bhagavan, or if you're very highly qualified, like Prahlad Maharaj, Narad Muni, you'll show kripa even to those who are aparadis and offenders and etc. Like Prahlad showed mercy to his father, Hiranyakasipu. Like Narad showed mercy to Manigriva Nalakuvar. So many cases like this. Right? So, basically, the gist of what we wanted to get tonight was that the bondage of the jiva can be broken. How? Only by sadhu sangha. What is a sadhu? That person who's realized the absolute truth to be Krishna praying. What is doing their sangha? Completely with your body, mind, words, moods, without duplicity, right? Niskapat. Following them with all of that, body, mind, word, moods, etc., with a mood of seva. With a mood of seva towards them. Not only following, okay, I'm following you, now you owe me bhakti. But only serving. Following Sadhu Guru to serve. From that seva comes Vishramba. Right? Rupa Goswami Pad gave first 4 things of bhakti. Guru Padasraya, take shelter of Guru. Take Diksha from Guru. Right? Then Siksha from Guru. Then Vishrambena Guru Seva. And serve with intimacy, with love and affection, not as a matter of duty. Then follow the path of sadhus that have previously been chalked out in our sastra and by their examples. So by this means, one only can break the bondage with material energy. No other way it can happen. So I'm ending here and leaving some time for devotees on the phone or devotees who are on the Facebook Live. Hopefully it's still working. My wife walked in at one point. I'm hoping it's working. They can ask any question that they would like. And if I cannot answer, I'm sure there are many qualified devotees on the phone. This is more like Istagosti. And they will certainly be able to chime in and help us all to grow by giving sufficient answers. So I'm going to go ahead and open up. Boom. If devotees were muted on the phone conference, they can open up now. And devotees similarly on the live stream, if they want to ask a question, they can also ask. Dandavad. And I'll repeat the question on the live stream because I don't know if you can hear the phone. So I'll repeat the question. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Okay. So the question was, you mentioned that for those who can actually give their kripa to another, they have to be at least on the Madhyam platform. But when you mentioned they have to have Madhyam and Ruchi, so at least they have, my question is, are you saying they have to be at Madhyam Ruchi, which means they're past Nishta, Ruchi, so that would necessitate probably they're not Madhyam Kanishta, Madhyam, or maybe Madhyam. And so that's what I was trying to understand a little bit more, because On the different levels of Madhyam, there's different levels. Not everyone may hit Madhyam, but they may not have hit completely Nishta yet.
Yeah, so Mahabhuti Prabhu, who's also very advanced and also very highly learned devotee, he's asking a question for our own edification, for everybody's understanding, that I had just mentioned that a devotee who is in Madhyam, and I describe Madhyam here according to the verse, Ishwaritada Dineshu, Baliseshu, the Satsacha, Prema Maitri Kipu Upeksha Sakaroti Samajjama. So this is given in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, again in the conversation between Havi and Maharaj Nimi. He quoted this verse to show what is Madhyam Adhikar, or the middle level of establishment in Bhakti. So the first criteria he gave was in relation to Bhagavan. Ishwari Tad. So Ishwara means Bhagavan. So he says a person who has praying for Bhagavan. So now, prem here, Jiva Goswami says, it means beginning at ruchi, not necessarily bhav or even beyond that, actual prem. So the reason he says this is because in this Madhyamadikar stage, in this operational platform of Madhyamadikar, he has enough fixed relationship with Bhagavan because he is Nishta. This was the essence of your question, Mahabhuti Babu. He does have Nishta in his bhajan, and therefore Ruchi. Because he has Nishta and Ruchi, he has some ability that what he gives to others will contain a significant amount of Swarup Shakti that it can help them to actually come out of the material world. Devotees prior to the stage of Nishta, what they're doing is mailman service. They are passing on what they have received orally, even if they have not even completely understood it themselves. They're passing on the oral reception they have to another jiva. Now, depending on the nature of the sincerity of their practice, it will have more or less Shakti. But the actual more competent Shakti to actually help jivas comes from those who are at least at the stage of Ruchi. So here Jiva Goswami says, Prema towards Ishvara, meaning beginning from the stage of Ruchi, going up to a Sakti Bhav and actually having Prem. Those who actually have full-blown Prem, which you can't fully express in this body unless you're Nitya Parikar, and even they come down to the level of Madhyamadikar in function. It doesn't mean that they no longer have Prem for Bhagavan in the sense of being Nitya Parikars. It means they're operating on the Madhyamadikari platform. On the other hand, those who are coming up through the gradations of Bhakti and have reached the stage of Ruchi, now they can also, and they would fit into the category of Sastra Yukti Sunipunya, Dridashara Yandra, right? Because to come to Ruchi, you've had to understood Sastra enough, you have to understood the value of Sadhu Sangha enough to have come to the stage of Nishta, which means you've passed through 27, which we'll deal with in our next class, 27 different kinds of anarthas, both gross and subtle, and you've come to the platform of Nishta where your chitta is placid enough, clear enough, that now, tat tat bhava adi madhurye shuti adhira pekshate. When you hear Harikatha, something sticks in the heart. And Ruchi comes. Oh, I want to hear more. I want to hear more. I want to hear more. So that person, their ability to help others is imbued with more Shakti. So hopefully I didn't go around too much and not answer the gist of your question. But yes, really Ruchi is a stage. But even prior to Ruchi, according to then the sincerity and level of faith, because it's not black and white steps, it's very gray. Everybody's different. Their bhakti portfolio of unfoldment is also different. So everybody's at their level. They're not at a step, they're at their level. So according to what that is, they have more or less potency to actually help others, right? Along with making continued advancement themselves. The one thing that is certain, if you lose the shelter of Sadhu Sangha, you can't help anybody, including yourself. That's certain. So hopefully that was okay, Prabhuji. Or if anyone else would like to explain more, I can reiterate what anybody says onto the Facebook Live for those devotees to be able to hear. And on Facebook Live, if anybody types something, I can speak it into the phone so the devotees on the phone conference can hear it. If not, if there's any other questions, then we'll move on.
Thank you.
Haribol.
Hello.
Haribol.
Mukunda, I actually did a watch party on Facebook while you're doing this. I just wonder, can you see comments that people are typing?
I can't, Diddy, and I don't know. This is my fault. This is my lack of technical. I cannot see. Is somebody asking a question?
No, they were making comments though that they really appreciated that you were very clear and very much loved that you were giving this heart kata.
Oh, okay. That's Gurudev's mercy. And I just did something that messed with the screen, so I don't even know what I just... Oh, there it is. Now it's back. Okay. So any last questions or comments? We're just about at 8:30. I'm going to talk a little bit about Radha Kund, so I don't want to forget that. So, Haribo.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just add something on to what you were saying about Sunday.
Okay. Speak it, Boomy, when you speak it in portions so I can keep relating it to the Facebook Live so I don't have to try to digest the whole thing.
One of the things, like we went over that 11th under of Sadhu Sangha. So, Sangha implies with attachment.
So Bhumi's saying that part of the meaning of the word Sadhu Sangha is that it means to do association with attachment. Go ahead, Bhumi.
Yeah, because generally sometimes we may meet people, we may have some conversation with them. It doesn't mean we have much of a relationship with them or there's any attachment involved.
So we could be associating with a sadhu, but it may be simply association by proximity if we don't develop attachment for that sadhu. Go ahead, Bhumi.
Yes. For the vibes and the moods that are in our heart. This is that one lecture by Sri Siddhanti Maharaj on BBMLU, The Glories of Sadhu Sangha.
So Bhumi's recommended one article. It is on BVMLU. So you can actually Google that and that site will come up. .org. Excuse me. BVML.org. And the article is called, Bhumi again?
The Glories of Sadhu Sangha.
The Glories of Sadhu Sangha. And in that article, it is by Bhakti Vedanta Sri Rup Siddhanti Maharaj. So he's written an article there, The Glories of Sadhu Sangha, and the points that Bhumipati is making are written in that article. bvml.org. Right? Okay, go ahead, Bhumi. Okay, I keep messing it up. It's bvmlu.org. bvmlu.org. This was a site that was put up by one very wonderful devotee. He's a god uncle of mine, a god brother of Bhumipati Babu. His name was Purudas. And he just collected so much wonderful harikatha and information from our Guru Varga and centralized it in one site. That site has been maintained and updated. It's called bvmlu.org. So please feel free to go there and browse. But this particular article by Sri Rup Siddhanti Maharaj is called The Glories of Sadhu Sangha. So before we end tonight, I wanted to speak just a little bit about the glories of Sri Radha Kund. Of course, today is the appearance day of Radha Kund, but Radha Kund is eternal. So appearance day means that day that Radha Kund mercifully manifests here in Boma Vrindavan. In Nitya Golok Vrindavan, Giriraj, Jamuna, Radha Kund, Sham Kund, they're all eternal realities and eternal places of Krishna's Leela. When Krishna wants to descend to this world to perform his Prakat Leela, his pastimes in this world, he requests that all of his associates and all of the Dham should descend also. When the Dham descends, it manifests itself according to different Leelas at different times. Therefore, we speak in terms of the night that Radha Kund appeared. So this Bahul Astami, or this night, this Astami is when Radha Kund appeared. So how did Radha Kund appear? Most devotees know the story of Arista. Arista means who's very proud, who's very, what should I say? Who has no regard for others, right? So Kamsa sent one demon, Aristasura, to Braj, as he had already sent many demons there to try to kill Krishna. When Arista came, he came near the evening time, and he was creating such a disturbance. And Aristasura was so fierce that even just by his roar, he was making the ladies of Braj have miscarriages. So our acharyas have commented, these miscarriages were not real. They were those who were thinking they had children. And out of great fear, they thought they had miscarriages. Right? This was to show the fierce nature of Aristasura. Also, he began to disturb Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan Dham completely manifests a wonderful dhuli. Dhuli means dust. In that dhuli, in that dust of Vrindavan, every day Krishna walks. And when he walks there, the Mother Earth manifests a unique sort of way to capture the footprints of Krishna and maintain them. So that any devotees or any Brijabasis, including the trees, animals, everyone, they see those footprints, they become completely enchanted. So here this Aristasura came and he was digging up all of these things and making a great disturbance. So Krishna, of course, came and immediately, by his power, he killed this demon Aristasura. So it was not too long after that when it was the scheduled time for the rendezvous of Radha, Krishna, and the gopis. So when they came there in order to have their evening Rasalila, at that time Radhika, having heard the events of the day, told, oh, listen. Now, the gopis here, they were not being serious, right? Because they knew this was a demon. But sometimes they want to see the Vidagdha of Krishna. Vidagdha means his expertise, right? So Radhika mentioned, and Asakis mentioned, hey Kanai, don't bother to try to touch us. Don't come close to us. We've all heard today that you committed one very great sinful activity by killing one member of the cow family, the bull. The bull is the representation of Dharma. And you've killed this bull. Oh, maybe it's because you yourself have these adharmic qualities. Yes, we know from your very young age how you used to steal from the house of others. We also know sometimes you were so cruel that you would pinch the babies in those houses. We also know, how you stole even our clothes when we went to take bath during our Katyani Brat. We also know how you covet the wives of others. So yes, so when this bull appeared, who was a personification of Dharma, you became very upset, so you killed this bull, so we don't have anything to do with you? So Krishna told, listen. Of course, this bull was not really the personification of Dharma, he was a demon. And because I am so powerful, because I am so expert, I was the only one who could kill this demon. Don't you know that I'm empowered by Bhagavan himself? Because remember, at the naming ceremony of Krishna, Gagarishi told, Nandastu Atma Jo Narayana Samaguna, that your son will have qualities like Narayan. So whenever Krishna would do something extraordinary, all the Brijabasis took, this is only because the mercy of Narayan has come. Because Nanda Baba, he so expertly, he has worshipped Narayan in his home in the form of Shalagram, that both the mercy of Shalagram and also the fact that Gagarishi has given us this blessing or this boon during his naming ceremony, he's able to perform these fantastic feats. So Krishna argued, listen, this was a demon. He was not the personification of religion. So the gopis said, no matter. You've become contaminated. And we don't want to have anything to do with you. So Krishna, sometimes when he's in a predicament like this, he uses different techniques in order to try to get his way. I'm not going into deep details of Ujjal Nilamani here. So one technique is called Rasantara. Rasantara means to change the subject matter. So Krishna then began speaking. Yes, but this was such a beautiful day. And we had such beautiful plans. Have you noticed that the flowers around this area are blossoming very, very nicely? So Radhika told, don't change the subject. So then Krishna tried to enhance his Rasantara. Krishna began singing very beautiful songs about the Ras Leela. And Krishna then, being enchanted, he began playing his flute and he began dancing because he knows his flute has very, very magical powers. So he began playing his flute and he began dancing. So all the gopis, they took their fingers and put in their ears and they turned their heads away. And Krishna was dancing and dancing. So when Krishna saw nothing was working, he said, listen, what do you want from me? What can I do? So Radhika told, listen, if anybody will become contaminated, right, then they'll have to take bath in a holy place and become purified. But not only you've become contaminated by killing a bull, but you've compounded it by lying, by trying to cheat us. So now you should take bath in all the holy places all over the world. So of course Krishna's thinking, how is this possible? We're in this Brajadam here, and yet you want me to try to take bath all over. So then Radhika said, yes, but remember, when all of the Brijabasis wanted to take a trip to go to the Ganga, at that time you told them there's no need to leave this Braj. And you yourself, you bought the Ganga here. That is called Manasi Ganga, right? So what is your expertise? Show us your expertise again. If you could do that, can't you bathe in all the holy places? So then Krishna again, thinking like this, he began dancing again. And while he was dancing, he struck one pose. And when he struck that pose, he pushed his heel into the ground. Now, sometimes it's told in short that Krishna simply pushed his heel into the ground and all the holy places came. But the backstory is really good. All of the holy places, they always have aspired to come to this Braj and serve Krishna, especially during Ras Leela. Because the Ras Leela is glorified all over the universe. So all the holy places, they've always wanted to come and witness that Ras Leela and do seva. But because they were not qualified, right, they could not come. So now Krishna, while he was dancing, he pushed his foot into the ground. As soon as the holy places, through Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is like the original Facebook, right? Because everything that goes on in Earth is communicated out to all the other holy places. So as soon as that began to happen, all the holy places rushed there in an attempt to try to see. They came with folded hands and they appealed to the Lord to witness his Ras Leela and to do seva. So Krishna told immediately, you should enter my Kund. So they all entered into Sham Kund. Krishna there, he took bath, and now Krishna was feeling very satisfied. And when he came out, he looked at the gopis and he told, listen, you told that I became contaminated both by Gohatya, or killing a bull, right? The cows and the bulls in the cow family, and by lying. And you had nerve enough to recount all my previous activities. These previous activities gave so much happiness to Brijabasis, but you considered them to be a dharma. Now, I have bathed in all the holy places, but for your statements, right? And because also you're all young girls out here in the middle of the night, how will you become purified? So then Radhika, they took that as a challenge. Oh, what you've done is not so wonderful. We can also make a kund very easily. So all of the gopis, they took off their bangles. And using their bangles, some breaking them in half, they began to dig the dust of Vrindavan. Now this is a very interesting point. Radhika is complete Shakti of Bhagavan. She could completely simply call all the holy places. And any kind of kund could immediately manifest by the power of Radhika. Why did they take their own bracelets and began to dig? Because what they were manifesting was not simply any lake, but Radhika, with all of her sevaks, with her swapaksh, her own gopis, they were putting their praying into digging that kund. This kund is made of praying. It is not made from simply the order of Bhagavan or the order of Bhagavan Shakti. It is made from their praying. This is praying vilas, which manifests Radha Kund and Sham Kund. So all the gopis started digging with their bracelets. When the kund was complete, they said, now we will go to Manasi Ganga and we'll bring water and enter our kund. So all the holy places, they realized one thing. We've come here, but how will we actually do service to Krishna without getting the mercy of Radhika? Who can serve Krishna without getting the mercy of Radhika? So Krishna told Radhika, all the holy places, they want to render seva to you. So Radhika told, no, I don't want any water from your kund. But all the holy places, they completely went before Radhika and they began to do stav and stuti. Radhika's heart melted in so much compassion and she allowed them to enter into her kund. Now, Radha Kund and Shama Kund are not made or composed of the liquid form of all the holy places. That's not what Radha Kund and Shama Kund are made of. the holy places resided there so that they could be inundated with the melted hearts of Radha and Krishna, which became known as Shyamakunda and Radhakund. Radhakund and Shyamakund are the melted hearts of Radhika and Krishna. It is their praying, the overflow of their praying. This is called praying vilas. Even at Murkuti, Radha and Krishna took the form of peacocks. How did this happen? This doesn't happen by any Aishwarya. This happens because praying becomes the director of the Leela of Radha and Krishna, and it makes a pastime. So praying made the pastime of manifesting Radhakund and Shyamakund. So Radhika's melted heart and Krishna's melted heart, right? This became Radhakund and Shyamakund. Now to show that, because Krishna has some pride, to show that he had broken the Ahetuman, because Ahetuman means Radhika was angry, but not really for a good reason, because there was really no killing of a bull. So in order to prove that he had broken a man, he gave a physical demonstration of it by breaking through Shyamakund and breaking through the mud wall that was built to make a separate kund and entering into Radhakund. So if you go to Radhakund today, you'll see Radhakund, Shyamakund, and you'll see one island in the middle, which is called the Sangam. So what was Krishna doing? Oh, Krishna, by this mood, secretly, underneath everything, he's having vilas in Sambhog with Radhika. And in their two separate kunds, they're manifesting separation, looking for Sambhog. So all the elements of prema are embedded in Radhakund and Shyamakund. Therefore, Rupa Goswami Pad wrote, Radhakunda iha gokulapate premanamrita plavanat. Because the highest essence of Radha and Krishna's praying is overflowing its banks at Radhakund. What person will not reside there? What spiritually discriminate person will not reside there at Radhakund and bathe in the overflow of that mercy of Radhika's praying? This is the secret of why so many aspiring Vaishnavas take shelter of Radhakund. Because there, Radhika's praying is overflowing. This is called Yavadasraya Vritti. I don't want to get too deep into this thing, but Radhika's praying, her anurag, her love, it takes different phases. Anurag, Swasamveja Dasya, Chaprakasita, Yavad Asraya Vritti. So when love becomes so highly exalted, love itself takes over. And both the lover and the beloved become playthings in the hand of love itself. This is called Swasamveja Dasya. When that happens, all of the manifestations of the power of the love show up on the body of the lover and beloved. Even their hearts may melt like Radhakund and Shyamkund in ecstatic symptom. This is called Prakasita. And Yavadasraya Vritti means then that praying having overflowed their hearts, or in this case overflowed the banks of Radhakund, then it enters into the hearts of those who are qualified to receive it. Janata Rit Balolam, and it churns their hearts with all kinds of bhakti rasa. So any person who's very intelligent and even those who are intelligent to know the glory of Radhakund, but know that their own quality is not such that they should reside there, they should pray deeply in their hearts that one day the adhikar will come, that as I mentioned in the beginning, at a distant place like Govardhan, I will look in the direction of Radhakund, and looking in the direction I will this Pujapat Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj made this statement. I will anxiously look towards that direction to get instructions from my Guru Rupa Sakhi to come and render service at Radhakund. So Radhakund is so glorious. We cannot imagine. And we are so fortunate that we have come in the anugatya of the associates of Mahaprabhu who have showed us this Radhakund, showed us the glory of this Radhakund, have given us a taste for aspiration to serve at this Radhakund. So may they bestow their causeless mercy upon us, our entire Guru Varga, and allow us one day to render some distant service at that glorious, highest of all holy places, Sri Radhakund. Jaivancha kalpaturvischa kripashinvacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So thank you to all the devotees, both the devotees who have come on the Facebook Live. I hope everything worked out well in terms of being audio-wise and visual-wise. I hope it all worked out well. Again, if you have any questions or comments or corrections, please put them in the comments, because this is for the benefit of everyone. I'm not so high-class a devotee, knowing so many things. So I know there are many qualified devotees who are watching and listening, and I'm always eligible to be corrected, because I want to grow in bhakti. I don't want to be cheap or cheating or anything like that. So please, if some mistake is made there, please write any correction there. Hari Bol Prabhuji, somebody's on the phone asking something or telling something.
He said, Yabba Traya Siddhi, when their hearts melt, then it comes from their heart into the heart of any qualified person.
Yes, or even a person according to their qualification, yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of distribution, is that like similar to a Dharya Leela when it's distributed?
So Sahadev Prabhu is making a... Yes, Sahadev Prabhu is making a point for the devotees on the Facebook Live. This is very much the Adhoja Leela of Mahaprabhu also. That Mahaprabhu's Leela in the Srivas Angan is actually Madhurya, because not everybody was allowed there. Madhurya here doesn't only mean sweet, but it means confidential. So the Sankirtan Leela in the house of Srivas was actually a Madhurya Leela. It was only for qualified devotees. Remember, I quoted the verse Prem Naiva Goparamanam. Right? So all those devotees, they were coming to the Kirtan. In that Kirtan, they were tasting the Rasa Leela. So Mahaprabhu's Kirtan in the Srivas Angan was actually Rasa Leela Kirtan. Right? So not everybody was qualified. But when the Prem rose to such a high level, that Kirtan, that Rasa Leela Kirtan, overflowed the banks of the Srivas Angan and spilled out onto the street. That became Naraga Sankirtan. That's why the verse is there. Chiraratatam Nijagupta Vidam Swanama Premamrita Atyudhara. Through Harinam, Mahaprabhu was giving. Yes, through this Harinam, Mahaprabhu was giving Prem Amrit. How? Because it overflowed. And when it overflowed, the devotees were distributing it here and there. There's one thing that says, if you have a patra or you don't have a patra. Patra means a container. Whether you had one or not had one. Then the associates of Mahaprabhu were giving out love of God. If you didn't have a container, they would give you a container also. All right, it's a little bit late.
Similar to banks of Radhakunda overflowing with love in the same way as Shiva.
Exactly. Mahabhuti brought up the point that we just mentioned, that Radhakund is overflowing also like that. Jai Dandavad Pranam. Oglaze Shila Gurudev, Oglaze Shila Prabhupada, Oglaze Guru Parampara. Jai Ho, Jai Shishi Gaur Gadadhar Ji, Jai Shishi Vallabh Ju, Jai Shri Radhe.